A clip of Owen Jones went viral. This is never a good thing when this happens because he absolutely spouts absolute drivel. And in this clip, Darren, he clearly doesn't understand the concept of cancel culture because he says that when people are cancelled and there's outrage about this, especially when it comes to being cancelled for silly reasons, there are people and there are institutions who come to their defence. But that still doesn't excuse the cancelling at the start. When you look at someone like Maya Forstater, Kathleen Stock, James Esses, yes, they might have been able to get support from that, but that still doesn't excuse the fact that their institutions at the start abandoned them. What do you think about this?
Absolutely. I mean, it's very easy for someone who's a total liberal darling who gets put up on all the liberal broadcasters as a left-leaning liberal head. I mean, left-leaning, he's very left-wing, but you know what I mean, Jess. And he's flavour of the moment for all of these broadcasters and has been for many succour and support to someone like Jeremy Corbyn, who he wasn't in favour of. Then all of a sudden, when it became opportunistic for him to be so, he was all of a sudden in favour of Jeremy Corbyn, who, let's not forget, offered succour and support to most of Britain's enemies. So there's that element of it. But you're right, he clearly doesn't understand it. I mean, over the weekend, we had a story of a lesbian woman who set up a lesbian speed dating night. And I don't know about you, Jess, but I think a necessary prerequisite of being a lesbian is that you don't have a cock. Now, if I'm sorry if that's offensive to any of our viewers, but surely we all accept that not having a penis as your genitalia is a necessary fundamental prerequisite of being a woman and therefore being a lesbian. Now, for saying all of this, for saying that someone couldn't actually enter this space, this dating space, with as a man who was apparently able to, shall we say, get off on the fact that he was surrounded by a load of lesbian women, that was just deemed transphobia, and there have been calls for this woman to be effectively cancelled. Now, cancellation, of course, means a whole host of things. We've seen with Nigel Farage that it could mean your values don't align with banking. It could mean that your values don't align with your teaching course, as it was with James Esses, who you mentioned, and a whole host of other things that we've seen over recent years. And that's exacerbating with every moment of this expanding remit of what is and isn't acceptable debate and speech. So the idea that this thing doesn't exist and anyone can be a talking head is complete bollocks, if I can swear again. It smacks of being completely removed from what's actually going on in Britain because he doesn't realize the extent to which his views are the mainstream, right? His views are the establishment class view. And for the rest of us, who perhaps are the majority, Jess, but don't have platforms in the Guardian newspaper or, you know, X amount of followers on twitter.com, that actually saying these things means that we have to just suffer the consequences and pay the price, even though they are mainstream view and opinion by the silent majority. It's just complete and utter guff. You know, Jess, if cancel culture weren't true, why the hell do we all need a free speech union? Why are there many cases enough to keep the free speech union going, enough to keep the membership coffers ticking over, enough to keep their ream of solicitors in jobs? The idea is farcical and just shows he's an out-of-touch tit. Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.